Welcome.
Good morning. I'm Bill Brock, your celebrant this morning.
And I'm LoraKim Joyner, community minister affiliated with this congregation, she, her, hers, or birds.
Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Des Moines. A special welcome to our visitors. For those of you on Zoom, thanks for tuning in. And please be sure your mic is muted. If you're here with children, there is childcare, or feel free to keep them seated with you or utilize our play area in the back.
We open this gathering with the acknowledgement of the lands and the waters, the people and the beings that have come before us, that's bound up in our own mutual dependence and whose numbers have changed over the years. This location past calls us to awareness that we are occupying it in the present, and we seek to understand and remember these species and peoples through education and awareness.
And bring awareness also to our current location in the rhythms of nature. Today is the third Sunday of spring. The moon is waxing gibbous and will be full on Saturday night. This full moon will herald the beginning of the 8-day Jewish festival of Passover. Today is the fifth Sunday of the Lenten season, which continues 2 more weeks until Easter on April 20.
For newcomers to our congregation, the first Sunday of every month, we have a curiosity circle where you can get to know more about this congregation, and we are the first Sunday of the month. So that will happen in the back of the room here. And now we will light our chalice.
On the third Sunday of the season, we dedicate our chalice to our values of interdependence and justice. Please join me in the chalice lighting words. May this flame open our eyes to awe and wonder. May this fire spark our imaginations and our minds. May we see beauty in the world and in each other, kindling justice, a burning fire.
Our congregation has many covenants. And like all covenants in congregations, there's an inherent sense that the promises we make here go beyond these walls to include all people and all life. So our recitation of the covenant today will be a recitation of a covenant with life. And what does that sound like? Well, underneath all our covenants is a recognition of the gifts of life, giving thanks and giving back, which is captured by this poem by Mary Oliver, The Greatest Gift. What is the greatest gift? Maybe it's the world itself, the oceans, the meadowlark, the patience of the wind and the trees. Maybe it's love and its sweet clamor of passion. Something else entirely has me in its thrall. It's that you have a life that I wonder more than about my own. It's that you have a life curious and intelligent that I wonder more about than my own. It's that you have a soul, yours and no one else's, that I wonder more than about my own. So I find my soul clapping its hands more for yours than for mine.
Today's story is Be Kind by Pat Zietlow Miller. I'm Faithiana Leonard, she, her, and as you notice, I have some additional readers with me here today.
Simon, he, him. Get closer to the mic. Simon, he, him.
Henny, she, her.
Lily, before you get started on your day, I want to talk to you about something very important. Do you know what it means to be kind?
Kind? I think I do. It means being nice to people, right?
Yes, exactly. But kindness is more than just being nice. It's about showing that you care, helping others, and being thoughtful. You can show kindness in many ways, with your words, actions, and even with your feelings.
Like when I let Ben borrow my crayons yesterday?
Yes, that was very kind. Letting someone use your things shows that you care about their happiness. It's a small gesture, but it can make a big difference.
Hey, Lily, can I play with your truck? I didn't bring mine.
I don't know. I really like playing with it.
Lily, this is a perfect moment to practice kindness. If Ben really wants to play with your truck, sharing it could make them both of you very happy.
Okay, Ben, you can play with it. I'll find something else to play with for now.
Thanks, Lily. You're so kind.
Hey, look, that girl is sitting by herself. Do you think she's okay?
I don't know. Maybe she's just feeling lonely.
I think we should go talk to her. Maybe we can make her feel better.
But what if she doesn't want to talk to us? What if she doesn't like us?
Kindness isn't about expecting anything in return. We can just say hello and offer to play with her. She might be feeling just like us sometimes, and a little kindness could make her day. Hi, my name is Lily, and this is my friend Ben. We were wondering if you'd like to play with us. We have a ball, and we can play catch.
Oh, okay. I'd like that. Thanks for talking to me.
You were right. That was kind of us. She looks much happier now.
Yeah, it feels good to be kind. It makes everyone feel better.
How was the park, kiddos?
It was great. We met a girl who was sitting alone, and we asked her to play with us. She was so happy, and we had so much fun.
It made me feel good to help someone else feel better. We didn't expect anything from her. We just wanted to make her smile.
That's the true spirit of kindness, kids. Kindness isn't about doing something because you want something in return. It's about caring for others and making them feel good, no matter what.
I like that, and I want to keep being kind every day. It feels really nice.
Me too. Like when Lily shared her truck with me earlier today. I felt happy, and I think she did too.
Exactly. Kindness spreads, and it grows. The more you practice kindness, the more it will make the world a better place. And remember, being kind doesn't have to be big or fancy. It can be something as simple as sharing, offering a smile, or just being there for someone who needs it.
I'll always try to be kind, Mom. It makes me feel like I'm doing something important.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, Lily. Mom, I think kindness is the best thing ever.
Remember, being kind to others is one of the greatest gifts you can give. Keep sharing kindness, and the world will become a much better place.
We will, Mom. We'll keep being kind. At this time, we will be singing the youth downstairs for their classes for the remainder of the service.
Good morning. I'm Eileen Jackson, she, her, and I'm here with the search committee, including Laura Riordan-Berardi, Pat Headley, Todd Lackman, Steve Stevenson, Isa Morrigan, and Becky Evans couldn't be with us today. Together in the last 7 months, this team has developed and conducted a survey and search parties, put together a workshop, worked on contracts with the UUA, created a congregational record to share with applicants, and worked hard to keep you all in the loop. They have met with and welcomed candidates to Des Moines and showcased our church and community in a way that leaves no doubt of their pride in both. In the last several weeks, they've done the intense work of discernment on your behalf. We're all excited to share some news with you today, and I'm sure you'll have many, many questions for them. But please remember to thank them as well. They most certainly deserve it.
You all ready? Y'all been waiting, right? To our church, First Unitarian Church of Des Moines, first and foremost, as we continue to, we want to thank each and every one of you in our congregation for being with us and support on this journey. It has been a challenge to contain our excitement, and we have been able to share as much as we can with respective ministers and navigate through the process that have ensured proper respect and collaboration with both the UUA and our church's future. The time is finally at hand. After much discernment, reference checks, and diligence, we, your ministerial search committee, wish to introduce you all to our candidate, Reverend Stephen Seek. And he has sent us a little video to introduce himself that you all can see. So would you like to see and meet him? Go.
Hello, First Unitarian Church of Des Moines. My name is Steve Seek, he, him, and I am honored and excited to be your candidate for minister. As I got to learn about this congregation, it was clear that you show up and do the work. From those lunch counter sit-ins in the 1950s to your thriving Trans Lives Festival today, you continually affirm our UU values to put love at the center and to work for equity and justice for all. I see your thriving pluralism in the Awakening Hearts Sangha, in the Sacred Bridges Circle, and in Forum. And I want to honor the work that you have been doing together to live into covenants of loving relationships. I'm a UU minister who is dedicated to building communities of compassion, justice, and mutual thriving. In my first career, I was a choir director, most recently up here in Appleton, Wisconsin, at the Lawrence University Conservatory of Music. My wife is a special education teacher, and we're currently raising 5 kids aged 4 through 22, some through foster adoption. I love to run and to hike. I'm a voracious reader, and I try to keep a daily meditation practice. Now, I look forward to getting to know you all much more later this month, and I hope to join with you in this work of loving radically, growing ethically and spiritually, and serving justly.
We are confident that First Unitarian will find the qualities of compassion, pastoral care, and flow that we discovered through the journey that led us to this moment. In our time with Reverend Seek, we all felt ministered to, wanted and valued as individuals, as well as your representatives on this work. Please join us for Candidating Week, which is going to be April 27th through May 4th, to meet, connect, and thrive with Reverend Seek as we make the decision together for the future of our settled search. Thank you all for your patience and trust in this process, and we look forward to this next step together.
In 1551, Archduke Ferdinand's Habsburg forces took Transylvania, banishing Isabella and her then 11-year-old son John back to Poland. After 5 years of exile, Ottoman troops recaptured the region and invited Isabella back. The Transylvanian Diet officially entrusted Isabella with a 5-year regency on behalf of her now 16-year-old son. Meanwhile, Protestantism had come to Transylvania. With religious tensions mounting, in 1557, Isabel signed an edict of religious toleration. Isabella declared everyone might hold the faith of his choice without offense to any, provided, that is, that the faith of his choice was either Catholic or Lutheran. Hey, baby steps. As UU Minister Reverend Kendall Gibbons said, it was the first time since the political hegemony of Christendom had spread across the Western world centuries before that a national leader gave back to ordinary people the authority of their own consciences in matters of God and the soul. The first time. And it came from a woman. And while that woman apparently remained Catholic herself to the end of her days, she was interested in Reformation ideas and the values of freedom and reason by which she raised and taught her son would lead King John Sigismund of Transylvania to become history's only Unitarian monarch. As Reverend Gibbons explained, against all the odds, Isabella brought up a son who bent the arc of the moral universe toward justice, compassion, and human dignity. She saved the throne for him and bequeathed him the concept of religious toleration that would not occur to the rest of Europe for centuries.
I'm Ellen, pastoral care, she/her, pastoral care associate for our congregation. You're invited to call the pastoral care team if you are going through any significant transition in your life, for a listening ear and to talk it over. Reach out to us at pastoralcareteam@ucdsm.org. You can also request assistance or submit a joy or sorrow through the Caring Community page on our website, or by speaking to me or any member of our pastoral care team. I also want to take a moment to remind this community that a grief support circle meets on the second Monday each month at 5:30 p.m. in the minister's office. So next Monday is Monday, April 14th. Anyone is welcome, anytime. It does not matter how long ago your loss was, or if you think you know what to say, you're welcome to join this circle for love and support whenever you need to. And we are Circle of Support today, so let us hold Sarah Lauer in our care as she continues to recover from hip surgery a week and a half ago. We have a few people in our congregation recovering from surgery, falls, or illness, one of whom is Ann Rosaboom, who is recovering recently from thyroid surgery. We extend our care and healing wishes to you. We are surrounding in love Jane Flagler and the family of Charlie Johnson, who died March 19th. His memorial service is this next Saturday, April 12th at 1 o'clock here at the church. For all who are grieving, we accompany you on the journey. And for everyone feeling the effects of these anxious times, may we continue to find strength in community, solace in being a justice-seeking, justice-demanding people, and solidarity in siding with love always. We know there is more going on in your lives, more people weighing on your mind. Let us share together now the names of anyone we know who could use some special care and attention. You may call their name out loud, or if you're with us on Zoom, you can type it into the chat. As we share these names, may the love of this community hold them all. And now we light 3 candles this morning. One for the joys and sorrows shared aloud, one for those shared in writing, and one for those held silently among us. For all of these, we now observe a minute of silence.
Studies have shown that certain body movements grow compassion. So for our training in compassion today, I'm going to invite you to share some body movements with me. And please feel at ease if you would like to just listen. So we're going to begin with the body movements, and afterwards I'll explain the science about why they work. All righty, so here we go. The first exercise is to breathe deep, as deeply as you feel comfortable. Let's do it 3 times together. And then I invite you, and you may need to stand up and have some separation here, to spread your arms out as wide as possible, as you feel comfortable. There we go. And remember, we're breathing deep. Let's have another breath or 2, breathing deep. And then let's look up, maybe at those gorgeous oaks outside the window. And then bring your hands together and bow to anyone or anything you would like to do at this point. Thank you for playing. You can sit down. So what do these body movements have to do with compassion? Well, breathing deep opens up the chest, which gives room for the heart to fully function. What does the heart have to do with compassion? Oh, come on. But science-wise, it is innervated with emotions and sends signals to the brain of how we act. It's actually a mind. So we want to let it have as much blood as possible to be compassionate. Also, when you breathe in deep, you're pressing on the vagal nerve, which is a huge nerve that runs down through the center of your body, and it stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system. That's not the system that says fright or flight. It is a system, oh, we're cool, I'm good, everything's fine, we're chilling. So when you press on that, it helps you open up and connect, and connection and openness fosters compassion. Okay, so spreading your arms wide, it's the same thing, opening up the chest. And tell me, when you open your arms like this, is this a defensive motion? It is if you didn't stand up and you slapped the person next to you. No, defensive is like this. So you're telling your brain, I'm safe. I'm going to connect. Everything is good here. I am open to whatever the universe brings. And looking up, I'm going to go into that in the sermon, but it does mental integration where studies have shown that we are kinder and more compassionate after we look up. Who knew? And then the bowing. Many traditions do this. Well, there's a scientific reason for this. Can you think of any other animals that bow? Several do. What do dogs do when they're playing? They go down and they offer their neck to the other dog. And what it's basically saying to us, because we share evolution with all other animals, is, okay, I submit to you, go ahead, have the neck. And it means, I give myself over to you, I trust you. And studies have shown that we're more humble and compassionate and kinder after we have done some bows. So these are our body movements for the week to help grow our compassion, and there are many, many others as well.
We come now to the offering, recalling our values, interdependence and justice, to form diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive, and flourishing biotic communities where wonder and beauty abound. The offering, then, is gratefully given and gratefully received.
no matter who you are, no matter how lonely you are, the world offers itself to your imagination, calling over and over again, welcome you into the family of things, telling you that you belong, that you are home, or you are on a journey heading home. Like the migrating bird this time of the year. They are headed north. They are headed home. Last night, 75,000 birds flew over Iowa to go north. They know this because they do radar, and it's not because they have people out there counting every single bird that goes over. 75,000, wow. I'll answer that question, but that's nothing, that's 75,000 compared to the peak of migration in May. In one night, we could see 40 million birds pass over Iowa, heading home, heading north. Wow. No matter the loneliness, the tragedy, the harshness in our lives and in the world, Iowa is full of wonders. And by wonder, I mean something that is with surprise, that's maybe mixed in with astonishment and beauty, something unexplainable, unfathomable, unfamiliar that we just don't know about. And these wonders can be amazingly over-the-top wonders, and they can also be day-to-day. I invite you to consider, when have you had jaw-dropping, amazing moments of wonder in your life? I'd like to tell you about one of mine. I was in the country of Guyana, it's South America, and I went to go visit Cater Falls, which is on the Potara River in the Amazon. It's the biggest fall that there is, the highest fall that there is. And so, of course, it was amazing, right? The thunder and the roar and the mist and getting wet, it was just amazing. But then, coming out of the midst of the waterfall, I heard two parrots call, red and green macaws. It was like they got conjured out of the mist, and they came out of the waterfall, and they circled a couple times, and it looked like they were headed right back in, but then they veered off to their nest on the side. I was mesmerized. The rainbow color of those birds mixing with the rainbows of the falls. Did you all come up with any wondrous time in your life thinking about? What about the day-to-day wonders, the weekly wonders? Think about that for a moment. What in the past week has maybe eyes slightly more open, maybe the jaw slightly relaxed? And if you want to play, how many of you all experienced one or more moments of wonder or awe this week? You can look around. How about 2 or more? 3 or more? 10 or more? Yay! The average person responds 2 to 3, that they have 2 or 3 wonder experiences every week, 2 to 3. But no matter how many you have, we can always have more. Do you wish you had more? People lean into wonder experiences for many reasons. And maybe one of the reasons is that we come by it naturally. We are not the only ones who wonder on this planet. Jane Goodall, when she studied chimpanzees in Gombe, Africa, was observing one day a male chimpanzee came up to a waterfall and got all excited and flailing his arms and dancing around and throwing sticks and rocks. And then after a little bit, the chimpanzee sat down and just watched the waterfall. This was not an isolated observance. She and others have seen this several times. It led Jane Goodall to speculate that chimpanzees have a sense of wonder and maybe even a nascent spirituality in our simian cousins like we have. So we are attracted to wonder because we evolved to, but why? Well, maybe it's an emotion, a subjective experience that is good for us. our emotions motivate us to do actions to go towards satisfaction and benefit. So wonder is part of the constellation of these emotions that help us move towards satisfaction and benefit. Now, the best example, or the classic example I'd like to use, is that of a bear. And I'm talking about bears because it is the classic metaphor and story for all of us who have lived in Alaska. So wonder leads you to go out into the bush and look for bears. You want to see bears. I mean, they're wondrous, they're amazing. Oh my gosh. They help us, wonder helps us get past fear to connect to nature and open up. Oh my gosh. But too much wonder, and you run the risk of a catastrophic encounter with a bear. So wonder helps us with all our other emotions to balance and find a middle way, to go out and take some risk, but not overly. And when we open, like when we were doing our arms, we connect, and life's possibilities just open up before us. Wonder helps us engage in a world that helps us integrate the story of connection and beauty and not just harm and tragedy. It helps us face also that there is harm and tragedy and illness and so much suffering in this world. But without wonder, we risk closing off because that hurts. So we need wonder to kind of keep us going, to live a life of intimacy and vibrancy. One study showed how it is that wonder opens up. Some researchers took out a bunch of teenagers and veterans on a rafting trip. I tell you, I want that job. And they did surveys and studied the response of the teenagers and the veterans, and what they found out, not only was it a great rafting trip, that a week later, the participants reported being more engaged and curious about the world and higher satisfaction 3 weeks later from one rafting trip. Studies have shown that wonder lifts depression, and they studied that. It also helps reduce stress. It helps improve the immune response. They take samples of the saliva. It helps with pro-social behaviors such as compassion and empathy. It helps people be more generous. The more times they have wonder and awe in their life, the more generous they are. And when we have more empathy with others, our relationships improve. With wonder and awe, our self-identity dissolves. We become more connected to others. We feel part of the whole and whole itself. And do you know that just writing about awe or wonder makes you kinder and more compassionate? Just writing about it. I lead bird walks, have led bird walks here and all over the United States, and something we call nurture nature workshops and retreats. And our goal is to show people that they have a choice to develop wonder in their life and resilience and connection so we can be better stewards of this planet. So how is it that human nature can nurture all of life? How can we do this? And I believe this is an important question in the time of climate crisis, in the time of loss of biodiversity, extinction, polarized and dysfunctional politics. The list goes on. I just call it the poly crisis, not because it sounds like parrots are involved, but they are. It's the poly crisis. We need all the help we can get. And using the natural human nature to nurture can help us all. And wondering about beauty is part of that ability to nurture nature. I'm going to invite us after the break into some specific practices that you can take home with you. You won't have to get up, but you might want to participate. But let us practice now experiencing wonder, and let's do that with music. Bruce, could you play something wondrous? Not that you don't always. There are so many ways we can nurture nature, ours and the earth. As the Sufi poet Rumi said, there are 1,000 ways to kneel and kiss the ground. But I think we only have time for 4 today. So here's the first practice that you all can take home with you today. And it's what we've already been talking about. It's about having wow experiences out in nature. Go out in nature. And they can be subtle or they can be just over the top like the rainfall. I was leading a multi-generational service, which means families came. This is when I was serving the El Paso Unitarian Community Congregation. And we went up to New Mexico on the Bosque del Apache, and it was a birding weekend. And families came up, and we were doing a birding walk, and we were going around the lakes, looking at the birds, and I was doing bird exercises, and I was trying to be intergenerational, but the kids just didn't quite seem to be engaged, especially Jimmy. Jimmy lived with his grandparents. His mother had a substance abuse problem, and so he was born with an addiction. So he struggled sometimes in social settings. What I have learned from leading bird walks is sometimes I just need to be quiet and let the birds do the work. And boy, howdy did the birds do the work on that morning. We came around looking at all the flooded fields, and we came across a field full of snow geese, white, on the blue sky and the sparkling water. And then thousands of them all took off at the same time and flew over us. Their thunderous clapping wings, our bodies just vibrated with the wings of those birds. Those children were transfixed and transformed. Jimmy, sort of like the chimpanzee, started waving his arms and running and giggling and jumping right into the arms of his grandparents. They wanted to share. They knew what wonder was, and it helped with connection to have that wow moment. And being in nature is full of surprises. You never know what Mother Nature's going to do. And so that's why getting out, because we can be curious, go, well, I wonder what's going on. Dr. Jim Austin, he's a Unitarian, he's a Zen practitioner and medical doctor and a neuroanatomist. He says in all his writings, get out in nature. Just get out in nature, because it changes the brain. And he's drawing on the Buddhist tradition of all these stories of people who are enlightened in nature. And he says it helps with the mental integration. It helps us be present and aware and focused, and also unfocused, that gaze at the waterfall. That helps us become more compassionate. He particularly writes about, in the Buddhist tradition, how people become enlightened when they look up. And these are stories, and he told me that one time, and I shared with him a story of something that happened with me when I looked up. And he said, that's it. I'm very curious to hear more about this. So I'm going to tell you this story. I told it last year when I was here giving a sermon, but I think it bears repeating because it talks about the value of looking up for a sudden or just the slow rewiring of our brains. This was many, many years ago in Guatemala, where I was a parrot conservationist, and we were out looking for parrot nests with my guide, a local Guatemalan, and it was before sunrise, and as we were walking, we started to talk, and he got on the subject of how much he loved Mary and Jesus. And I was a little uncomfortable. I didn't know where the conversation was going. I don't know if he had expectations of me. And as we were having this conversation, we came up to the forest edge, and the sun was just peeking up over the treetops through the mist. It was a tropical setting through the mist. And out of that same area where the sun was, a flock of loud parrots burst out and started flying towards us. The next thing I knew, I was on the ground sobbing. I don't know what happened. All I know is I felt, besides being embarrassed, such clarity and connection to humanity. And because it occurred around that conversation of Mary and Jesus, I said, oh, When he's saying Mary and Jesus, it's like when I say birds and trees. This was a moment that started me going on a path towards seeking something to define this spirituality, this sense of service. And it gave me an ease with the world's religions because I said, oh, there's wonder lying underneath it all. Jim Austin said it wasn't so unusual, my experience. Researchers study this. There's another great job to have. There was a group of researchers, and it was like if we said, go look at those trees for 15 minutes, and you play on your phones for 15 minutes. And then after that, what they did, it was a trick, as they were leading people to finish the experiment, the researcher dropped accidentally a box full of wood pencils that just went sprawling. And then, of course, people want to pick them up and help out. Well, they counted how many pencils each group picked up. This group that looked at the trees picked up 10% more pencils than the group that didn't look at trees. And the group that looked at trees didn't feel entitled for payment for participation in the research. So looking up brings on compassion and connection. And it doesn't really matter what we're looking at, birds and trees, the stars, the moon. Just look up. So why don't we just practice again a little bit, shall we? Just look up, maybe out at the trees. So wow experiences in nature. Get out, look up, but there's another thing we can do around wow experiences in nature. Is like with so many of the body's emotions, if you lead with your facial expressions or the words of the emotion, you can actually feel it. Smile and you can feel happier. It's the same thing with wonder. By just saying, wow. Did you guys say that with me? Wow. Okay, step one. Let's try another. Here's another way to nurture nature. Nature is everywhere. It's in us, it's in every object, it's everywhere. So how do we develop wonder in the routine of our lives? Where things are perhaps boring or uncomfortable. I mean, it's one thing right now to be wondering about the green leafy explosion that's happening and all those beautiful flowers that are coming up. But what about in the winter? The gray, ashy snow of our climate and perhaps our own hearts as we look at the headlines on our phone and newspapers, reading about the world's struggles and the latest crazy thing politicians did or said. We have a sense of, well, I'm going to call it the really energy. You know, really, it's my Valley Girl days, really. It's where we don't approve, we're judging, really. So what we can do, if we find ourselves doing that, is maybe shift that energy. Again, it's sort of like saying, wow, is instead of going, really, you know, like a bird poops on your windshield, really, instead you could go, really? You guys want to say it with me, please? Really? All righty. So that's one way to do it. And you can practice by looking at parts of your lives, people you live with or objects, and slow down and say, how did that get to be here? How are you connected to my life? What's going on with this? And just open yourself to curiosity and going, really? So again, let's practice some more. Why don't we pick something, you all pick something that's boring in this room. And I hope not too many of you are looking at me. So maybe the wood in this room. This is beautiful. This is beautiful, but maybe you've become accustomed to it. It's the normal stuff. Maybe you're not going wow anymore. But where did that wood come from? That's what we're asking about. We're curious. What came from trees? Well, did you know woody trees haven't always been on the planet? They all evolved about 350 million years ago during the Devonian period. And you know what happened when trees evolved? They caused catastrophic climate change. Their roots changed the hydrology of the planet, which changed the mineral and salt content of the oceans, and we lost 50% of all genera on the planet. And trees were a part of that. And today, there are 3 trillion trees on the planet, which means there's 400 trees for every one of us. They're everywhere, and they cause extinction. We're not alone in this. We are really not so bad. Really? Really? Which brings us to number 3, the practice is being able to have wonder with our fellow kind, our fellow humans. For me, in my work as a conservationist and as a minister, it's one of the most challenging areas, our judgment we have for our species. And I have it too. And it's really maybe easy to be wondrous about a child and the geniuses in the world, but what about everyone else? If you ever feel you have a sense of judgment about humans or humans in particular, how do we find wonder in the smiling faces around us or even the frowning faces? What would our lives be different if we walked into this room or walked out these doors and said, oh my gosh, people are so wondrous, I don't know what to do about this. And you can practice it. You can ask questions of, I wonder what they're thinking and feeling. I wonder how they got to be here. How can they be so kind and courageous in the midst of so many challenges? So we slow down and we really take a look and be in wonder of the people around us. And here's how you can help that interaction. The judgmental sense of other people, I'm going to age myself again, just need to think about the movie The Big Lebowski. It's where it's the dude energy, right? Where you go, come on, dude. Do you know that dude? It's that judgmental sense that somebody disappointed us. So what we want to do is change that dude energy to more of a Fonzie dude. Dude! And just train yourself, like when you go into committee meetings, I do this. Look around at everyone's face, and I don't always do it out loud, going, dude, dude. And we can train ourselves to see wonder in others. Would you all practice that with me? Now look at each other's face. Look at each other. Put your thumbs up and go, dude. Dude. So we're coming into our last little hint for the week. This would be to have wonder about ourselves. Everywhere you go, there you are. Wonder is ever available. The beauty in others, in the trees and the birds, this world is also in you. And we can open ourselves to this wonder, train ourselves so we can have lives of more intimacy and vibrancy. Because if we close off that going, I'm no good, we close off the world. And we close and diminish our resilience for helping the world. So we need to practice seeing ourselves as great and wonderful and wondrous. And so this takes practice too, I think, for most of us. So I'm going to ask you to step out of your comfort zone and say, I'm good. And then take your Fonzie thumbs and point them at yourself. I'm good. You got to do this like this. Okay, so in summary, the 4 things we reviewed were, wow, really? Dude, I'm good. So let's do it together with the hand movements, okay? Wow, really? Dude, I'm good. And this is how we can nurture nature. It's in us to do it, to take care of ourselves, the planet, the people, the beings. Let's do this for ourselves and for all that is our life. you got it. I think you got it.
Our hymn is number 128, For All That Is Our Life. Please stand up as you are so moved or as able. For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours and rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
Please say with me our unison chalice extinguishing words on the screen. The flame is now ours to carry, the spark of wonder, the fire of justice, the warmth of acceptance, and the light of love. These abide in our hearts, in our words, and in the work of our hands.
May you have many wonders in your wonders this week. Go in peace and love.